Good afternoon. It's time for another Thrill Pack video update for August 15th, 2019. Let's get right into it. First, had a few questions or a few requests to discuss what happened at the labor management meeting with the IAFF most recently. Had a great meeting with the fellas, and some of the topics we discussed, or all the really topics we discussed, are here. Continuous duty rule. That was question was about where was that going? What were we going to do? The ultimate goal is to not allow working more than 48 hours straight, continuous. But as we all know, with the staffing, it boils down to mandatory in some cases, and Chief Calcutt's monitoring this, and by very limited criteria, very selective criteria, he will allow this. You're not going to work 3 or 4 days in downtown Lakeland or something like that. So it's going to be that, but it's going to be very limited, very selective data. Uniform changes. The start date for the new T-shirt will be somewhat flexible, according to the chief. He said it was the hard date of November 1st. That was what was published. There's been some, as you know, throughout time, there's been some availability issues with Design Lab, and maybe they're not available, something. So as long as you order early in October, and if they don't come into the 3rd or 4th or 5th of November, nobody's going to get real upset. Now, that's not to say you can order them on October 31st and not have them on the 1st of November. So do your part. In fact, I've already ordered mine. I happen to have money from this year still left in there, so I went ahead and ordered mine. But I know that the new uniform allowance kicks in around October 1st, so soon after that, order that. There was also a question regarding was this dress uniform changing, and that's not changing at all. The dress uniform is remaining the same. And logistics is also checking to see if some of the newer employees can also have an online cash account until they've been here 1 year. Typically, we give them their first issue uniform, and they don't have an account until after a year. Well, some of them expressed interest in wanting to order things and pay for them themselves. And so we're looking into being able to do that right now. Tara's checking into that. Writing down, the question actually came over with how many positions can somebody write down? Can a battalion chief be an EMT on a rescue truck? And the chief can't justify that. That doesn't really make good financial sense. So the policy is writing one position down. More than that, it's just not being able to justify that to the folks, the auditor folks that keep checking on how we're spending our money. So the normal policy is one position down. Now, of course, if we're in a hurricane or some other, extenuating circumstances, of course, we're going to do what we need to do to staff the vehicles and emergency response. But normal policy is one position down rather than where you're at. New employee orientation training. They had talked about, can we increase that since the staffing is getting better? And the training folks are working on getting more training officers to come in and help, and also since we're not in such a dire strait, potentially increasing the onboarding training to include more driver training, certainly because that's an area we need work in, as well as some other suppression training and things like that, whatever may be needed. So look for that to maybe increase in the future. Not sure how much. Still being discussed. The plan is, and hasn't actually been by the chief yet for the final approval. But we all want that. That's the goal, is to increase the training time. There were some other minor issues involving fleet and supply and things like that. And so we're trying to work through that, trying to find out what's going on there. Some other items that came up. The online IT security class, there's been a number of folks, not necessarily in the fire rescue division, but other places that were lacking this online IT security class. The IT folks are sending you a link, you click on it, and you go take this test, or this little class and a test, and it certifies you. It's done every year right before your anniversary month, and if you don't complete it, actually they shut you down. So if it's close to your anniversary month being here and you don't think you've seen it, please email Phil Lambert he's one of the BOCC IT guys. He'll send you out a link. You can't get the link from your buddy because each one of them is for set up for the individual to get the training. It's how they track it. It's specific to the person. So just email Phil Lambert and tell him you missed it or you didn't get it or whatever. If you get close or whatever, he should get you hooked up. Also, there's going to be the Army or the Air Force is detonating a bunch of explosives down in the bombing range beginning September 9th through the 12th. They've got almost 2,000 pounds of the equivalent of 2,000 pounds of black powder to get rid of down there. Some, I guess, military munitions. They're going to do about 50 shots a day. They break it up into about 15-pound shots. So there's no telling if we get calls. We may not even know it, but I just want to let everybody know toward the south end of the county. If you hear something between the 9th and the 12th, about 50 shots a day, that's what it is. They're detonating at the bombing range there, getting rid of some unusable stuff. Save the date. December 12th is our annual PCFR Awards Banquet. It's, of course, at Lake Eva Center, and you're hearing it here first. There will be a special surprise door prize. Surprise for right now because I don't have the exact details on it, but it will be donated from our friends at Whiskey Bent Barbecue Supply in Lakeland. So you can imagine how wonderful this prize is going to be. I know what it is, I just don't know which one. So I'm going to get more details, but looks like it's going to be a great year, a great party, and a lot of awards. Our folks are out there doing amazing things. Speaking of which, that's why this is on the bottom here, had an active assailant call at the school in northeast Polk County this morning. And the coordination with the law enforcement, our folks that took it seriously, you can tell the training has paid off. Everybody was wearing their equipment. It went very, very well. Battalion Chief Ramon Gonzalez was in command up there, was the incident commander, assisted by Battalion Chief True. And our portion of it, which was, of course, it's primarily a law enforcement issue. Nobody was hurt. It turned out to be a false alarm. But our training has paid off, that everyone was doing what they should have done, so it went very well. And again, as always, coordination with the Sheriff's Department was great. Those folks are very professional. Many law enforcement agencies, state level, federal level, were there too. So a tremendous response to a very, very just a call that we all don't want to really happen. So, but hats off to our folks. They performed great. From the staffing folks, they want to make sure that I really reiterate to you that if you're interested in working overtime, use the VOT sign up on Telestaff. Now that we got a lot of new folks that may not know this, ask somebody else. What it does is it puts you in the VOT pick list. That's the first list in the list chain after the part-time list. So if you just wait around to maybe till they just outbound this thing versus somebody who puts their name in the VOT pick list, they're going to call the VOT guy first, because we wanted, when this was set up, we wanted to make sure that those who want to work first before we go into the arm twisting and the MOT and things like that. So if for those folks out there who want more overtime, I know it's starting to get a little harder to come by as our staffing improves, put your name on that VOT pick list. Now, the other thing is, our staffing folks, John Beery, Captain Beery particularly, they fill vacancies as early as they can, or go out a few weeks and fill them as they get them. They don't wait till the day before. That was a big problem with some of our folks in the past. So if you look ahead, go out a few weeks, put your name on the VOT, put it out there. They run reports, they look at it, and it picks you first. You'll get the first. You'll get the first opportunity at the overtime. So please use that, as opposed to, we have some folks who just email, hey, I'm available on this day. Well, that didn't get smuggled up, and the hours got to compare and everything like that. So put it on the VOT is the best. Also, starting September 9th, the day trucks go to 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Medic 230 is going to be renumbered to Medic 41. It's going to be in Davenport. So that's also going to happen. Just give you a little heads up, that's coming out in the future. Also, I was reminded that coming up, not certainly not imminently in the next week or two, but in general, start planning for the promotional processes. They're going to be running a battalion chief process, captain process, engineer process. So now's your time to start getting those certificates together. Make sure your training files complete. Get that last minute class you wanted that'll entitle you to go to some of these promotional ranks. So we want to make sure that everybody knows now's the time to start getting things ready, and the processes will begin in a future date. They're again not right around the corner like next month or anything, but it happens faster than you think. So we want to make sure everybody's ready for it. So everybody gets an opportunity. Well, I got a tech update. Couple things here that needed to be talked about. First, the vehicle computers, the ones with the cradle point. MobileCom, as you know, for those most of you know, MobileCom does not wirelessly connect with the cradle point. So your GPS must be plugged into a USB port on the computer, which means you got to unplug it to take the computer out of the vehicle. And some people don't have those, so we want to make sure that you know that the USB GPSs are available at the warehouse. Do the normal supply procedure, fill out the right paperwork, and do whatever you have to do over there. But we have those in stock and available for those trucks as the cradle points get put in and everything gets converted over. Also, as with a lot of things, all the tech stuff, we're getting more and more tech all the time here, and that equals a lot to remember. So this is a screenshot. The little thing to the left is a screenshot of my screen on my computer. What it is if you go to the P drive, on my computer's P drive, the data drive, and you're looking for that PCFR_ file share, then you go to the training folder and then the how-to folder. If you look in the how-to folder, there are these guides, these electronic guides with pictures, and it's kind of like PowerPoints on fire records or MobileCom, Mobilize, Mobile Touch, and just the radio, how to work the radios, some of the newer radios that we got. So the training folks are getting these manuals, so to speak, in-house manuals with some of the questions that have been asked. So you can go look there if you've got a question about how MobileCom works or what you need to do. Yours isn't doing just right, so some of the things are available in there. But anyway, that's this is becoming more and more one of those things. I may end up putting some of the telestaff manuals in there too, because again, we're going up so many versions of telestaff. That's the version coming out that we're testing for right now, 7.11, is looking hardly anything like what we got now. So I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of questions, so I may have to put the new manuals out there. But anyway, this is where the tech stuff is located at, that you guys can find it and see how you run some refreshers on that. Anyway, long one today. Sorry for this. I normally don't like to make them this long, but if you have any questions, Rick Parnell at polk-county.net, and we also monitor the Facebook and all those things. We want to make these things relevant for you. But if you got any questions or comments, just contact me. Email's the best. And everybody be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next time.